Hi, my beautiful friends. How are you? Rebecca here. I don't know what we're going to do. Let's just get on our mats and flow together, okay? Let's take a child's pose. Knees wide. I have blocks here. I always have blocks just in case I need them. So it's recommended because they just help take the ground closer. So if you have them, I'll give you a minute to get them, or just pause the video and grab them, okay? And when you do, find a child's pose. Knees wide, toes touch, stretch out long. Drop your forehead down. Start to breathe. See if you can release any gripping. And with the exhale through your nose, just release any kind of tension. Let your forehead melt into the mat. Let your hips release. Let your eyes soften. And come up on spider fingers, keeping your forehead down. Just feel the expansiveness now in your upper arms. Into your trapezius muscles that expand with the air as you inhale. And exhale. Good, and just slowly make your way up to all fours. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Splay your fingers wide. Third finger faces forward. Ground into your hands. Find your fingertips on the mat. Just look straight down between your hands and take a nice full breath in. On the exhale through your nose, press into your palms, arch your back. Take your chin to your sternum, exhale completely. And then inhale and reverse it. Drop the heart, lift the tail, lift the chin, look up. And exhale back to Mad Cat. Nice and slow. Exhaling completely. Then inhaling deeply. And exhaling completely. And then you can find your own flow. with your own breath span. And then on your next exhale, I'm going to walk my fingers forward a little, drop my knees back about 2 inches, and I'm going to come forward into modified lion. Pressing into my hands, bringing my toes to touch, pushing away into the mat with my hands so there's no shrugging between my ears and my shoulders, and look up. On the exhale, go. Inhale. Stick out your tongue, lion's breath. One more deep breath in. Exhale. Good, and then come back. Mad cat. Inhale, heart forward, gaze forward. And then let's tuck our toes, and with a nice deep bend in our knees, exhale to down dog. So in your downward facing dog, you're an upside down V. So make sure you lift your hips as high as you can. And shine that lightsaber from between your thighs on the ceiling behind you to lift the tail. And then release any tension in your neck and reach the crown of your head to the mat. Keep breathing. And then engage your triceps, right? So engage them so they're working, and keep pressing forward and down with your hands. And draw your heels to the floor as far as they'll go without pressing or pushing hard. Just let it go wherever it goes. And then you can start to bend one knee and then the other and walk out your dog. And take your time with this. You can come up on your toes. Do whatever feels good in your body. There's no wrong way to do this. You just have to feel it. And then you can check out your alignment by shifting your weight forward to the top of a push-up and finding your shoulders over your wrists. And then you can lift your hips up and back and find your down dog. And breathe. Then I'm going to inhale to the top of a push-up. And right now I'm going to take 8-point salute. So I'm going to take my knees down, and I'm going to lift my tail way high, like I was doing a cow tilt. I'm going to look forward, wrapping my elbows and triceps in, and I'm going to take my chest and my chin down for 8-point salute. And then I like to isometrically drag my hands back, which actually lifts my tail higher. And I just breathe into my throat a couple of times, keeping my lips sealed. Keep your eyes open. My toes are tucked under, although you can't see them.
And if you can press a little into your knees to lift your tail higher. Just relax that shrug from your ears to your shoulders. This really opens up the throat center. Stretches the throat. It's also called awkward pose because it's awkward. Then take a nice full breath in. And on the exhale, lower all the way down to the belly, which always feels really good from there. Let's take a little cobra flow. So take your nipples to your thumbs or your thumbs to your nipples. My toes are untucked back there, although you can't see them. And then just inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. And inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. And inhale, lift. And then take your hands off the mat and see how much of your lower back is actually doing the work. And then just breathe there. You don't have to come too far up. Just breathe. And feel yourself floating. And then lift a little higher. And exhale. Take your hands down, then press into your hands. Let's find a puppy dog stretch. So here we're going to take our hands forward, keeping our hips high, and then rest your forehead down. Same dynamics as down dog, but we're on our knees. And now what I love about this is when I press into the meaty part of my palms, I can feel my shoulder girdle engage and stretch. This feels so good in my body. I've been off my mat because I had a little backache. So just go really easy. Listen to your body. What does it need? Good. And then I'm going to take my hands back and I'm actually going to just step my right foot forward. This is where blocks come in if you want them. I'm going to have mine here right now. They just feel right to me. Then take your knee over your ankle. Just sink into that lunge. You can just hold your blocks. And let that left hip flexor just sort of soften. And there's a dragging forward of the heart, so you're upright as opposed to like rounded here. It's not a push, but it is a kind of like a pulling through, and then the hips can kind of come down and forward. You'll feel it. And find that sweet spot in your own body and just hold it and breathe. Sometimes when we've been off our mats for a while, our bodies really feel it. They get tight, and they get tight quickly, you know? That's why a regular practice is so good for us. That feels incredible in my back left hip. Wow. Good, and now I'm going to shift into a half split. So I'm just going to shift my hips back and straighten my right leg and flex my right foot. Can you see that? And then I'm just going to take my hands on my blocks, keep them there, and lift my heart. And I'm just going to stay here. I'm going to stay here and breathe with my heart lifted, no folding yet, just because this feels good. And then there's a bit of an isometric pull back in the right hip. Yeah, because your hips are square to the front. And then just close your eyes, baby, and breathe into your right hamstring. Your right hamstring, your right calf. And you'll notice
when you drag your heart through your chest, right, as opposed to this, you drag your heart through, which is a dropping of the belly a little bit and a lifting of the tail a little bit, how that engages your right hamstring and your right calf muscles. Yeah, and I don't even think I'm gonna fold at this point. I'm gonna take a deep breath in, and then I'm gonna come back to my lunge, except now I'm gonna take my left knee back so it's actually under my left hip. And again, I've got 90 degrees with my right knee over my right ankle. And that's like stabilizing your alignment with both bone stacks on top of bone. And take your arms to the sky. And now I actually am drawing my tailbone down. So I feel it in my left quadricep. And breathe. Good, and then let's take our hands down. I'm going to take my hands to the mat and I'm going to lift my back knee up. And I'm just going to start to straighten my front leg and then bend it, keeping my back knee off the mat. I'm just going to sort of play with this action here. Shifting back, it's almost like a pyramid, but my feet are more widespread. And then I'm going to bend on the inhale. And again, blocks are a great tool for this part of your practice. Exhale and shifting back. I'm going to take them down a little bit. Inhaling, lifting the heart through, drawing the tailbone down, and then just shifting the hips up and back, straightening that right leg. Inhaling forward, and exhaling back. Inhaling forward, and exhaling back. And again, inhaling forward, and exhaling back. So I'm going to move the blocks because I'd like to do a little vinyasa. We're going to bend our right knee and place our hands down. We're going to step back with our right foot to find our plank pose. And now take your knees down and then take your chest between your thumbs. Untucking your back toes, wrapping your elbows in and then inhaling up to a cobra. And we did a little flow here, so you might be ready to come up a little more. Just do what feels best in your body. And then exhale, lower down. Tuck your toes. You can come through all fours. And then lift your hips, down dog. It feels delicious. Good, so let's inhale to a plank. Exhale, take our knees down. And again, let's do the same thing on the other side. So now our left foot comes forward. Yep. We're just gonna find that lunge. Left knee is over your left ankle. Blocks are in if you want them. And I'm gonna drag my heart through my chest a little bit so I'm more upright. And just let that soften with the exhale. Just see if you can release any gripping, especially when we're tight. It's easy to hold on. Several long, slow, deep breaths. Good, and then when you're ready, you'll shift back to a half split. Flexing that foot, right hips over my right knee.
And I'm just gonna sort of drag my heart through my shoulders and flex my left foot and stay right here for the inhales and the exhales. And then I'm going to come back to that funky pyramid where I just lift my back knee and then shift my weight back and straighten my front leg. And I'm just going to bend and straighten. And bend and lift my heart and straighten and melt my heart. Inhaling forward and exhaling back. And my back heel isn't touching the ground, and I don't care. It's not about pyramid right now. It's about my front hamstring. And eventually my back hamstring. I'm just going to hold this for a couple breaths because that's what my body wants. What does yours want? And then I'm going to lift my heart and I'm going to take my knee down and then I'm going to take my arms to the sky, shifting my hips back and my right knee forward a little. So I've got my right hip over my right knee over left ankle, arms to the sky. Yep, and then we press into the right knee a little. You can pad your knees if you'd like. And now I'm going to take my gaze up and splay my fingers wide. I try to engage all my body parts. So if my fingers are up to the sky, I pay attention to them, I splay my fingers wide, I can feel it all the way into the palms of my hands and down into my wrists. And if you'd like to rotate your wrists, yeah, whatever's calling, right? Whatever's calling. Answer the call on your own hero's journey. And then reverse that, see what it's like. Just explore. My wrists are like, hello, pay attention to me, and so I do. And that's the way it works. Good, and then hands come down. I'm gonna move my blocks. I'm gonna come up off my back knee, and I'm gonna step forward and take a forward fold, because that feels so good in my body. And then I'm just gonna hang, separating my feet a little. Maybe right under my hips, and just let myself hang and ragdoll. So all you have to do is take the shape and breathe. Let your top body hang so heavy that it releases your lower body. Low back, hamstrings. And then it's always really nice to get into the sides of my legs. So I put a deep bend in my right knee and I take my weight over to the right and I ground my left foot. And then I get a stretch all the way up my left leg, from my left foot all the way into my left hip. And head is just hanging, arms are hanging. And then you can inhale through the middle and then exhale to the other side. And again, my hips are square to the front and I ground back into my right foot. And I have such a nice stretch in my IT band in my right leg. Everything else just rests and hangs heavy. Like ripe fruit, just let it be where it is and heavy as it is. And then we'll come to the middle and we'll release our hands down and then take a flat back. So this is called halfway lift. Sometimes people like to bring blocks into their half lift. You can notice that I've got a nice flat back and the tail's lifted. If your fingers make it to the floor, that's fine, or maybe to your shins. The most important thing here is that your back is flat and that you have lots of space from your ears to your shoulders. And then fold low on the exhale. And do that a couple times. So inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. And from here, I'm going to take my hands to my hips. And pulling back with my hips, I'm going to lift up and stand up. Oh my goodness. I can obviously feel in my body that I've been off my mat. All right, and then bring your toes together, finding mountain. We'll just do a few half sun salutations. So in mountain pose, you're staring straight ahead. You can find a spot on the wall that's not moving. And then open your palms to the front and just relax your shoulders down away from your ears. Engage your quadriceps and bring them back in space. You don't have to lock your knees, but they're very firm. My legs are firm, my feet are grounded. I have a little engagement in my core. And my arms are engaged and my hands are active. So this is an active pose. So you can take this posture, engaging all of those body parts, and then find your breath. So the engagement in the body parts and then the fluidity of the breath, that's the work, that's the practice. Engaging where you engage and then letting the air flow. Exactly, and then inhale, take your arms to the sky, take your gaze between your hands, look up, let your pinkies spiral in, and feel grounded in your feet as you reach up, and your shoulders are away from your ears. You can just take your eyes to the sky and balance here. Take a couple breaths, stay for the exhale. Good, and then let's all breathe in together. And now on the exhale, we're gonna swan dive forward, hinge and fold all the way over. And at the bottom, see if you can tuck your chin to your sternum. Very full exhale. And then inhale to a flat back again, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. And then inhale, root to rise. Rise up, gaze up. Let's lift our rib cage up and out of our hips. Little back bend, and exhale, hands to the heart. Good, so I'm gonna actually step back into warrior two. I'm gonna step my left foot forward and my right foot back. And my right foot, my outside of my right foot is parallel to the back of my mat. And then I'm gonna take my arms up to the sky. Oh. And sometimes a good gauge is wrists over ankles. So how does that feel in your body? Left knee over left ankle. And then have active hands. Can you see my hands? They're nice and active. So they're not like droopy. They're actually engaged. Shoulders are relaxed away from your ears. Tailbone draws down. Breathe. And really feel your feet on the mat. Feel your toes press in, maybe the outer edges, and then you lift up out of the arches and then replant that big toe in your heel. So everything's engaged, but you're not sinking in your inner arches. This feels really good. And then let's straighten our leg and then take our arms to the sky for flying warrior. Inhale, exhale, warrior two. Inhale, flying warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, flying warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Let's stay right here. And our next inhale, we're gonna take a peaceful warrior. So our back hand comes down to our thigh. Our left palm spins up to the ceiling. We reach up and then let that side body stretch. Ground into your feet. Keep the bend in the left knee. And breathe. Beautiful, it feels so good. Inhale. Exhale, back through warrior two. Let's find a side angle. So forearm to the top of the left thigh, right arm comes straight up. I'm not gonna do extended side angle, which was the bicep over my ear. I'm just gonna stay here for now. And I'm actually gonna look up to my right third finger and find Gyan Mudra. First finger to thumb, opening that shoulder. Gonna inhale up to warrior two, and I'm gonna straighten my left leg. So here I'm gonna take my right arm behind me. So I had a little bit of a shoulder ache. I'm not gonna push it, just gonna sort of wrap it behind me. And then I'm gonna let my fingers, as you can see me waving them, pull back my hip and then reach forward with my left hand. I'm gonna stay here for a breath or two because you're gonna feel that in your left inner thigh. Now I'm gonna breathe in, and on my exhale, take my hands down. And then I'm gonna release my right arm straight up, stacking shoulders right on top of left for Trikonasana. Triangle pose again, Gyan Mudra with the top finger and with the bottom hands too. And let's inhale up to Prasarita, which is a straight-legged triangle, and bend into our right knee. You can take your left hand down to your block or to the floor and cartwheel your right arm down, coming up on your back right toes. Now I'm gonna move my blocks and I'm gonna step back to plank. So now my body's ready for a chaturanga, which is when I shift my weight forward and I take my body down, elbows over wrists. Then I'm gonna flip over my toes, press into my hands and lift my heart into upward facing dog. So my back knees are off the mat. My heart is driving through my shoulders and my gaze is to the sky. My throat is open. And exhale, press into your hands, roll over your toes, downward facing dog. And we're gonna walk our feet to our hands. And then find a forward fold, toes touch. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Here comes Denver. And inhale, root to rise. Rise up, gaze up. Lifting my ribcage up and out of my torso, finding a back bend. Freeing my body, it feels good. Then finding straight up, Urdhva Hastasana, and then exhale, hands to my heart. Okay, so I'm gonna turn around. You just stay where you are, okay? Now I'm gonna come into warrior two left side. So step back, move your blocks if you'd like, but you'll be facing the front of your mat. Now right foot forward, finding warrior two. Same sequence here. So just relaxing your shoulders, finding your gaze over your right third finger. Finding a few breaths in warrior two. And then I'm going to inhale to my flying warrior, where my palms touch over my head on the inhale, and I exhale back to warrior two. Inhale, toes touch, right leg straightens. Exhale back to warrior two. Inhale up. Exhale, warrior two. Then I'm going to find my peaceful, back hand down, right palm spins up to the sky, reaches up and back. Nice right lateral stretch. Keeping the bend in the right knee, and then stretching back and letting my left hand slide down my left leg. Just for a couple breaths. Letting my body come back to yoga in its own way. Then inhaling up, and I'm going to take my side angle. So my right forearm comes to the top of my right thigh, my left arm comes straight up. And I'm not pushing it today, I'm just going to take it up, finding my Gain Mudra. It feels good in my body just to stay right here. And I know I keep emphasizing that because I want you to find what feels good in your body. I can guide you, and you take all of the different modifications that feel good to you. So we take our gaze up because it really helps our eyes, works our eyes, and helps them strengthen the eye muscles, and it also helps our focus. Then we're going to come out and find our Prasarita. And then I'm going to take my back arm, I'm going to drape it behind my back, and I'm going to reach over my right toes, and like before, I'm just going to hold this, pulling my left shoulder back, and then I'm going to see my left fingers are waving at you. It pulls your hip back. And then you're going to feel that right thigh stretch. That's a beautiful right under thigh stretch, just like that. And then ground into your feet. Take a nice full breath in after you've taken a couple breaths here. Then exhale, take your right hand down, release your bottom arm, top arm, and stack your shoulders left on top of right, opening your heart. We're going to inhale up to our Prasarita, and we're going to bend into our right knee, and we're going to find our Vinyasa again. So we're going to cartwheel our arms down, step to the back of our mat, exhale Chaturanga, inhale upward facing dog, exhale downward facing dog. Take a child's pose, because that's what my body wants. So come down on your knees, and once again, take your knees wide, toes touch, and rest. Bring my hands back under my shoulders and press up. I'm actually going to take a nice wide-legged stretch. So just take your feet wide. And then I'm just going to take my hands like down in front of me and sort of drag my heart through my shoulders again. My feet are flexed, but you can't see them. And exhale, walk your fingers forward. Find a place on the floor that feels good. It may be very small. It doesn't really matter. Just find a place where you can sustain it, and then I want you to just hold it here for a few breaths. And then go ahead and come out of that. So I'm going to take my left heel in and take my arms to the sky. And then take my right hand down, my left arm over. I find that a lot of side body stretches really feel good. So I try to make sure I get them in. I like it when I can feel my sit bones on the mat, and then I can sort of reach away from that space mindfully. And I'm going to come up and take the other side. Sort of bending into that elbow and finding my stretch. Yeah. Good, and then I'm going to take my right foot forward. I'm going to find a little stretch. So take your left knee up and then maybe take your left foot over your right thigh. I'm doing this forward so you can see me. You can be facing the front of your mat, whatever works for you. Then take your arms to the sky in the inhale, and then the exhale, I'm going to take the outside of my right tricep and press the outer left knee away for a spinal twist. Boy, does that twist feel good. Boy, a few days off your mat, it's amazing. I'm going to go easy on the twisting too because I had an SI pop out, so I'm just going to go super gentle, but I do want to do it a little. And then I'm going to inhale for a counter twist and just sort of look over my right shoulder. And then come back. Good, so we'll switch that. So here, I'm going to take our right heel in and take our arms to the sky. And on the exhale, what do? Take our right hand down, our left arm over. Inhale up, other side. And if you want to stay for a few more breaths, please do. We try to go evenly, but I'm sure it's not exactly even. We just do what feels right. Good, and then come on up. Let's take that leg straight ahead and draw the right knee in this time, and then the right foot across that left thigh. Yep, and I'm going to keep my left leg straight for these. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, outside of my left tricep to the top of my right knee and twist. Exhaling, looking behind my shoulder. Be careful with these twists. Then inhaling through the center and over for your counter twist, over to the left, opening your shoulders here.
Coming back to the center. And then I'm crossing your legs. Let's take a forward fold. Legs are together, Paschimottanasana, arms to the sky. And exhale, hinge and fold. Grab your feet or your shins or your ankles and just let yourself round and stay here for about 3 deep breaths in and out. And let's come up and then let's find ourselves on the floor. I'm going to turn around. My bottom is mid-mat. Take your arms to the sky. Let's find a little core engagement here. So you can tuck your chin. You can start to round down onto the mat. And then articulate each vertebra onto the mat. So really go slow with some core strength. Tucking your chin and gradually lowering down. Obviously, the slower you go, the more core strength it takes. Just try to come down with control. And then lie down on the mat. Take a little bridge. Tickle your ankles with your fingers. And then inhale, lift. And stay here for a few breaths. Press into your feet, lift your hips. Release your glutes. And lower down. I didn't roll my shoulders under because my shoulders were a little achy. So I'm gonna let them rest. Now grab a block. We'll do a little inversion here. So from your bridge pose position, pre-bridge pose position, you're gonna inhale and press into your feet and lift your hips and just take the block right under your sacrum. And then rest it down. It should feel really good. So make sure it's not too far up towards your back. Mine's right like below where a belt would be. It's right on that triangular bone of my sacrum there. And then we're going to take legs up the wall on a block. So just straighten your legs up straight up. Keep your neck neutral. Just rest your palms. And then we're going to take about 5 deep breaths up into our chest and exhaling completely. Letting everything else go. Softening your face, letting your shoulders melt. Actually, my palms want to turn up. That's fine. Take about 2 more full breaths.
start to bend your knees and bring your feet down. Find yourself on supported bridge just for a breath or two. Good, and then press into your feet and lift your hips and remove your block. And just rest with your knees touching each other. You can move your feet to the outsides of your mats in passive rest. Good, I like to end with a supine twist, so draw your knees in. Take a few breaths with your knees drawn in. Feel your back flat against the mat, all the way from your shoulders down to your coccyx. Maybe even find a little compression as you pull your knees down, shins down. Now I'm going to bring my feet down. I'm going to lift my hips up a couple inches to the right, because then when I take my knees over to the left, I have more of a straight line from my shoulder to my hip. Arms come out, palms are down. My chin's going to come over to the right, and I'm going to take a few breaths. And on the next inhale, take your neck neutral, take your knees in. I'm going to press into my feet and lift my hips a couple inches over to the left. So that same rule applies. Knees come in and then over to the right. Then I can find my left shoulder more in line with my left hip. Gaze to the left, close your eyes and breathe. Neck to neutral, knees to neutral. Press in, bring your hips back to center. One more, draw the knees in. Maybe find a happy baby where your arms come inside your thighs, and then you're gonna take your feet up like you're walking on the ceiling. Feet are flexed, and then just sort of pull on your feet and draw your knees towards your armpits. Sometimes it feels nice to rock side to side. Bring your feet together and then take them down to the mat for reclined butterfly, Supta Baddha Konasana. Breathe into your inner thighs, let them rest, let them open and soften. And then take your knees together and find Shavasana. So legs come out, palms rest. I like to bring my toes to touch, my ankles to touch, and then let them fall open naturally. My arms are close to my body, but then I let my palms roll open and just rest. So stay here. I'm gonna come over and talk to you a little bit as you recline in Shavasana. Let everything go as you close your eyes and melt into the mat. Let everything be heavy. Sometimes I do a body scan from my crown of my head, sort of envisioning everything sort of melting with this like nice, yummy, yellow, mustardy, golden light flowing through my body like honey, and just sort of relaxing me like an elixir all the way down to my toes. Just letting everything be as it is and just soften and let yourself relax. What I found from being off my mat for these days is how much I appreciate my body and how I depend on it to do what it does for me. And then when I got back on my mat with you this morning, because this is the first practice I've had since I kind of threw out my SI, is that sometimes we get into this pattern of doing and speaking and being in a way that is a little bit more automatic than we know. And I found myself when I was talking through this practice with you people, is I had more of a beginner's mind, more of a presence, which I really appreciated and noticed. I thought, I'm saying this and I'm feeling what I'm saying. I'm not just saying it. I'm actually present with my words and with my body as I do it. It was a good feeling. It was a surprise. I don't think that I knew that I had been kind of a little automatic. So these things that happen to us, even though we would never ask for them, you know, to take us away from our routine, gives us a reset. So when we go back, the routine isn't so routine. I mean, there's never an exact practice. I've never taught 2 classes twice. But, I mean, you know what I mean. That's the gift, I think, for me in this, is to reconnect with my beginner's mind and my beginner's teacher. Go ahead and start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Move your heads from side to side. Just feel what that's like in your body. Deepen the breath. And take your arms up over your heads. Stretch your arms in one direction and your toes in the other. Full body stretch. Take a huge breath in through your nose. Exhale, go. Do that again. Deep breath in and stretch. This time, draw your knees in to your chest and go. Hug your knees in, rest your head. Make your way over to one side, resting your cheek on your bicep like a pillow.
leave what no longer serves you behind you on your mat. Maybe something came up during this practice where you thought, you know what? I don't need that anymore. I'm going to really be conscious about giving myself this gift of shift. The gift of shift. Ooh, I just made that up. The gift of shift. And then press yourself into one hand, come into a comfortable seat, resting your hands on your lap. What a gift this has been for me. I hope you feel good in your body. I hope that you're connecting to yourself. Bring your hands to your heart. It's an honor. It is an honor for me to guide you, whoever you are at this moment, my friend. Just know that I love what I do, and it's always my intention to help you feel better in some way and help you connect to yourself, because there's no better connection. You and yourself, you and your soul, you and your God, whatever resonates with you. And from my heart to yours, namaste.